principle, you can do whatever the examples is they're going to throw your way. Because you must just go and sit and think, is it now an asset? Is it a liability? Is it part of the equity being expense or an income? And if you know that and you know what to debit and credit, then obviously it's very easy. Okay, so now you can see here creditors. We bought now the equipment for 10,000. Say in the same, I wonder if I can just, okay, yeah, my screen can go a bit down. Okay, say now the next transaction is I'm going to pay let's say 8,000 rand for that equipment. I'm going to pay 8,000 rand to the creditors. I'm paying off my debt. Okay. Now you can see if you pay that, your next transaction will be your creditors is going to get less. So to decrease your liabilities, you're going to put it on the debit side. And then obviously you still have your bank account. And you're going to do on the credit side, you're going to say creditors 8,000 rand. You see credit bank, yes. Okay, and now you can see that if you balance this, if you get a balance here, you can see that you still owe 2,000 rand. Just going to do it like that. So the whole thing about accounting is you must just yeah, I'm a visual learner, so I write down things for myself. If you just write down your T accounts, not even worried about the equation, if you just do your T accounts, it's actually quite easy to know if you must plus or minus whatever to change your adjust or do your adjustments, do your trial balance, do this, do that. You must just, yeah. 8,000 is, oh yeah, I'll get to the, yeah, that's actually, sorry, I forgot to do that part now. Okay, let's do the equation quickly. L plus that. Okay, so if you pay, then your assets is decreasing with 8,000 and your creditors also decreasing with 8,000 rand. And there your equation is still balancing. Okay, if you understand these basic principles, then you'll be fine to do all the rest. Okay, I just want to do one more on these, then I'll move on. Okay, yeah, so basically I did all the expenses, assets. I'm sure you can do your equations and T accounts by now. I'm not going to do journals because journals is more or less the same than the T accounts. You just have to know what to write where. Okay, if the transaction says I'm the owner now, and the owner, he pays say 1,000 rand for his child's, owner pays 1,000 rand for, let's say, his child's school fees or something. School fees from the business account. Okay, let me just finish writing this from the business account. Okay, so first of all, if you're the owner, you can't just use money for yourself. Your business is obviously there to run the business and pay the expenses and earn income and so on. So you can't just use because some people do that, but it's not supposed to be that way. Yes, that's what I want to do. Yeah. So if you take money for your own private use, okay, let's first do the bank account. Obviously, it's coming out of your bank account, and it's like a payment. So it's 1,000 Rand. What did you say? Oh, you said drawings, yeah. So yeah, that's actually what I was trying to say. Drawings. You can debit drawings. Let's just write the bank there. Okay, yeah. So that's all I wanted to say. If you take money, or you can even take stock at one stage, they say you can take stock from your business, then it's still considered drawings. And then you'll see, okay, let's first do the equation. L plus E. Okay, once again, your bank will decrease, or your assets is decreasing with 1,000. Nothing with your liabilities, but your equities, is that now going to be plus? Okay, yeah, someone already answered me. So you decreasing your equity, so it's like an expense. It's the money that you put into your account and you are using it now or taking it out. And then towards the end, when you balance your accounts, then you're actually going to take the drawings to capital. Because say the capital, I can't remember what was the amount that we started off with. Say we started say it was 20,000 that you started off your business with. Then that drawings will be on the debit side of capital. Can you see? So yeah, that's why drawings is now a debit. Okay, obviously it's going to be a balance, or let's rather put it as capital. Put it as capital. You take it to the capital, the end of the month, and then that's why drawings is now, or drawings is always a debit, but capital is a credit. So the reason why drawings is a debit is because it's making your capital, which has a credit balance, less. Okay, so you understand the accounts, assets, liabilities, the accounts, double entry on what now? Capital. Here's a double entry for drawings. Is that what you yes, they must always. Are you referring to the capital? Who's asking now? Tsegofatso? That's your double entry there. That's the end of the month when you actually are balancing. You have to take your drawings to the capital account. Is that what you are asking? On drawings and capital. Yeah. Okay, the capital. Okay, let's say this was the only transactions for the month. Then obviously you'll have a balance here. 20, it's going to be 19,000. And what is it? I can't remember. The one is, oh yeah, this one, the balance is carried forward. Then you make it 20,000. And this one is also 20,000. I always had to make double stripies. And then that 19,000, let me just move up a bit. Then when you start the next month with an account, it will be balance brought forward 19,000. Okay, so if you just understand in your head why you have to do what, then it's much easier to know if you have to debit or credit something. You understand, Tsegofatso? Questions? Understood. Okay, any questions up till now? Something specific you want to ask questions about? Something that you battle with in your assignments? Will you be able to do the accounting equation now?
Okay, can I talk? Hi, sorry. Can you
Phew,
hear me?
I had it right. I thought it's my camera that's on. I just wanted to, I thought it's my camera's on. I only joined now. Is this what you have been doing the whole time? Yeah, yes. Sorry if I take too long for you, but yeah, I showed um the T accounts, the contra, the double entry, how to put it in the accounting equation, everything in once. And I just made a distinction between what's an asset, what is a liability, what is influencing the equity, and yeah, so on. Sorry if that's taking too long for you. Um, anyway, yeah. So are you all fine with the equation? Some more questions on that? Is there something specific that you are battling with in the assignments that you want me to answer before I carry on?
Okay, we're currently busy with the vet
So
input
you're
and
fine with equations.
yes, I'm fine with the
No
equations.
questions there? Wonder if I can go back. I want to use these same examples to show you now the journals. Do you have? I'm fine with equations. I wanted to ask about the calculations for VAT. Okay, the VAT is a more extensive one. I'll cover that. The VAT balances I'll cover next time. Yeah. Um, yes, I was a bit put on the spot here to even I haven't been giving accounting for a very long time in my life. I had to learn myself, not learn, refresh myself. Okay, so the VAT I'll do next time. I actually wanted to just so that you understand what's a debit and what's a credit and everything. Okay, so besides VAT, the trial balances, the adjustments, you can do all of that. And I'll do I know there was questions on the bank recon and bank. I'll give you some, I just have to work through some examples to show you all the different scenarios. So I'll do that next time as well. And then the VAT. I see that's also, I think, yeah, Mukhari told me the other day, yeah, students are asking questions on the VAT. Okay, but besides that, are you fine with all the rest? Can you do trial balances? Because yeah, I was looking through the trial balance. If you know what's a debit and what's a credit, it's actually quite easy. I know it was for me in the beginning always a mission to balance the trial balance. That's why I put accent now on the fact that you must know what's a debit and what's a credit. If you know that, then it's actually quite easy to do the trial balance as well. And also the adjustments, all of that. Then you won't have trouble with that. Even journals, if they ask journals. I don't think they ask journals that much, but the principle behind that is also if you can do the T accounts, you will be able to do all the rest. Okay. Any other questions? Or who asked me on the VAT? Mixo. Can you maybe I did give you, let me just go back to my screen here. If you can just maybe send me the question that you are battling with, because it was when they asked me to give this class, quite battle to know exactly what I have to give the workshop on and what not. So that's why I started very basic, because I know if you can do this, you can do the rest. So yeah, the VAT question, please send it to me. I just want to see to what extent you are doing VAT, because I know there's a VAT input and a VAT output and a this and a that. So yeah, I don't know up to what extent you are required to do that. Okay, more questions? I just want to test your knowledge on the things I did. So I'm going to give you an adjustment or two. Okay, since you all know now how to do T accounts, I'm going to give you an adjustment to do, but you must just tell me which account you're going to credit and debit. Okay, let's do this one. Um, okay, I'm just going to say it's furniture and equipment. So just equipment that you're going to buy. From, let's say, person XYZ for 3,000 Rand. Then you pay, so pay there. You pay 1,000 Rand. Okay, pay 1,000 Rand cash, and the balance in 90 days. Okay, it's basically what we already did. I'm just, yeah, so this is an adjustment and you have to change your balances so that it can balance now. According to the program we got based on today's session, accounting equations, general, yeah, accrued. Yes, I'm coming to that. This is based on the program. Yes, I know that. Yeah. So I'm going to do the accrued and expenses now. I just wanted to check that you can do all the others. So most of the stuff I did cover. All I didn't do is the accrued and the income. I'm going to do that now in the adjustments. I just want to show you this one. If you have a cash and a creditors, that they actually give you a whole trial balance, and the trial balance is not balancing, and you have to change these values so that it can balance. Okay, so here, this one, they say you, okay, let's start with equipment. Going to do the accrued now. Okay, let's start with the equipment account. I'm not going to do the equation now. I just want to show you T accounts and why you have to plus what and minus what. If you have the equipment account, okay, you bought it now for 3,000 Rand, meaning your asset is going to increase on that. But of that 3,000 Rand, actually, let's just make a circle around it. Of that 3,000 Rand, 1,000 was paid in cash, and then the rest you didn't pay upfront. So because you didn't pay that, the difference of the 3,000 Rand is 2,000 Rand, and that will go to creditors because that's money that you owe. Okay, so the 3,000 mustn't be there. Let's just put it here. So if you get a transaction like that, and they say, okay, here is all your balances and whatever, but when they went through the stuff, they saw that you bought the equipment for 3,000 Rand, but it wasn't done correctly in your books. Okay, so can you see that in your equipment account on the debit side, first of all, you had 1,000 Rand that you paid cash, and then the rest must go to creditors. You understand that? Equipment, and then you go for your bank account, which is 1,000 there for the equipment, and then another account for creditors. Can you see that? For 2,000 Rand. So say, I'm just going to put it here on the side. Okay, it's not given. Yeah, but let's just. Okay, the VAT, as I say, the VAT I'll do next time. I just want you to understand this and the accrued, and if you have a mistake on your trial balance or how to change your trial balance to get it. But yeah, let's say there's no VAT included yet. I just want you to understand um, all of this. Okay, say you have, they gave you the trial balance. Let's say they say for equipment, the balance was, let's say 40,000. They say that your bank is, let's make it say 20,000. Um, and creditors, and they don't give you a balance. They don't tell you if it's debit or credit. Let's say 5,000. And they say these balances are wrong, and they saw that this transaction must still be done in your books. Okay, so how are you going to change those balances? The equipment one, are you going to plus or minus something from that, from the 40,000? This is now a trial balance they gave you here. Let's write it here. Okay, obviously, first of all, if they give you equipment and they don't give you a debit or a credit, you must assume that it's a debit because it's more an asset to you. Okay, so now this transaction was not done. Are you going to plus or minus anything from that equipment balance? Anyone? What are you going to plus or minus from that balance to get it to the correct balance the end of the year? The equipment, you're obviously going to plus 3,000 because it was not included yet. Your bank account, you're going to subtract 1,000 from, and your creditors, you're going to add 2,000 Rand. Can you see why you have to do your T accounts? And according to that, if you know what's an asset and what's a liability, you know what to plus and what to minus. Bank is an asset to you, but if you credit it, it means you have to minus. Let's just put it here. So if it's on that side, whatever transaction is, you're going to minus. If you have to add something on the debit side, you're going to add to the balance given to you. Okay, creditors should have a credit balance. If there's another 2,000 you have to add to it, then it means you have to add to that given balance. You understand? And then the equipment obviously is also an asset. So it was on the debit side. So you plus that and you minus that. So because you had to add equipment, you plus the 3,000. Can you see that if they give you these kind of adjustments that you just have to go back to your T accounts and see what you have to debit and what you have to credit so that you can change your balances. Any questions? Okay. There's actually just one I want to show you. Okay, let's just do quickly like this. Okay, say they give it to you now like this, the trial balance, and they say this is your debit and this is your credit. Just want to see. I'm just going to do one at a stage. Okay, say they give you a bank of 2,600 and they say in the adjustments, that's a trial balance. I'm not going to write down everything, but they say that actually if you do your bank account or the auditor went through the books and he saw that the bank on the debit side, debit account, must actually be 7,625 and the bank on the credit side should actually be 5,125 and make the adjustment accordingly. Okay, and they give you the initial balance from the trial balance as that credit balance. Okay, so you once again, or for me, that's the easiest to do. You can do it any other way if you want to. You start with your bank account. Okay, they said there's a balance of 2,600. But actually, according to the auditor, here on the debit side, there's a total of 7,625, and actually the credit side is 5,125. And then what is the correct balance that you have to go and write in your trial balance now? Can you see that you're going to add the 2,600 and the 5,125? You add them together, 7,725, and then 7,725. What is that now? 100 Rand. Yeah. So actually, the balance that should go to your trial balance, according to the adjustment now, is 100 Rand. So that 2,600, you actually have to change to 100. But just to see it like that, you'll never know. Yeah, you'll see some of the transactions they write like this. They'll say 2,600 plus 5,125 minus 7,625. Okay, but if you don't understand the debit and the credit behind it, then you don't know which one to add and which one to subtract. You understand? But if you do a quick T account, then it's just easier to see what the right account must be, or the right value to the account must be. Any questions? Will you be able to do that? Okay. No questions. Fatso, not even you. Okay, I'm going to do one more adjustment, then I'll show you because the expenses accrued and whatever is basically the same. I just want to show you one more. Okay, now let's go to a new page. Say I give you still the trial balance, debit and a credit, and okay, let me just get. Now they give you the buildings account or the buildings balance in the end was actually a negative. I can't see the amount. 164. There's actually two that I want to show you quickly. The other one was wages. I'm just going to write this as well because the two is connected now. Salaries and wages, 332,123. Okay, they give other balances as well, but I just want to show you this one. Then they say an amount of 120,000 was paid for extensions on the buildings, extensions on buildings, but it was debited against the salary account. Okay. Now you have to change this because obviously those two amounts are wrong. Okay, so the first one, according to the trial balance, is buildings. So according to them, your buildings, which is actually an asset, it's got a credit balance of 164, and then the salary account, just write it there. But salary account is an expense, so that's fine. That amount is there. Now, how are you going to change that mistake that the bookkeeper made? They said an amount of 120,000 was paid for the building, obviously, or increase the buildings, but it was debited against the salary account. Okay, so let's go to the salary account because that's the easier one. So obviously in the salary account, there was an amount included of 120,000, which should not be there. So if you want to take out the 120,000, are you going to debit or credit the salaries account? Okay, so the salary account, you're obviously going to debit with, credit with 120,000. Oh, no, I don't have enough zeros there. 120,000. And you're taking it to the buildings account. Can you see that? Because you have to take 120,000 out of the salaries account and go and put it in the correct account, which is the buildings account. So it looks like the buildings is paying salaries, but it's actually not. It's just you have to reverse a wrong transaction. And then you can see that your salaries balance on the trial balance, you actually have to subtract 120,000 from that amount to get to the correct balance. And then the 164, you also have to subtract 120,000 actually to get to the correct balance. You understand that? And that's actually how you do adjustments. You must go and read what they say, what you did wrong, and then you reverse the transaction. Okay, so it looks very funny that you have to credit the salaries with buildings, but it's actually just a wrong transaction that you have to reverse. And then, as I say, sometimes they don't even ask for the T accounts, but if you write your T accounts, it's just easier to see if you miss minus or plus a certain value to get to um, the correct balance. Any questions there? See, we have half an hour. I just want to get to the accrued.
Amen.
So I'm going to think one out of my head now. Okay, before we carry, so do you understand now? Any questions here?
No. Yes, there is a question, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Nothing. Okay, see, we only have half an hour.
Hello.
Let's do the expenses and the.
Hi, can you
She
hear me?
can't hear. Okay, obviously I can't hear what you're saying, so can you just, I don't know why I can't hear the students. Maybe they were all, okay. All right, okay, type your questions while I'm busy writing the next example. Okay, let's take a simple one. I'm not sure why, because last time, type your question, she can't, yeah. Okay, maybe it's because a lot of students were invited and they made it certain rights. I'm not sure, but yeah, type your question. Okay, say your salaries is, I'm just going to make something simple. Say it's 2,000 Rand per month, but sorry, I don't know. I can't hear. So, yeah, please type your question. Otherwise, I've got no idea what you understand and what not. Okay, but anyway, let's go to the expenses. I'm just going to make it simple because if you can do one, you can do all of them. Salaries. Okay, now they say your salaries, your expense on salaries must be 2,000 Rand a month. Okay, and all the books that you have to do is always going yearly. So your salary account, salaries, your account should be for the year, it's always a year, must be 12,000 divided, multiplied by 12. So your expense on salaries must be 24,000 for the year. Okay, that is what you should pay. But now, okay, I'll read your question now. But now they say you have only paid 10 months of salaries. Okay, let's say it comes from the bank. So if you pay 10,000 Rand, 10 months times 2,000, it means that you only paid 20,000 Rand in your expenses that you were supposed to, but you still need 4,000 Rand. Can you see that? Because your expense for the year should be 24,000. Okay, so if it's an expense that you didn't pay yet, what do they call that? There's what is the one? The one is accrued and the other one is, yeah, other one. Okay, I'll show you now. So in this case, it's accrued expenses. It's something that you haven't paid yet. So, but although you didn't pay it yet, it should be shown in your accounts. Okay, I'm showing it in terms of a T account. For me, it's just easier to understand. If you do it this way, where should what go where? Okay, because your balance should be 24,000. You understand that part? Okay, but now this 4,000 that you didn't pay, that's now going to be either a current asset or a current liability. Which one do you think accrued expenses will be? Because you have to show in your books that you still need to pay it, although you didn't pay it yet. Okay, I'll come back to your question, Hulisani. I'll come back to yours. I just want to answer someone else that asked about the accrued expenses and stuff. Okay, I'll come back to your 120,000 question now. Can you see that any expense, should it be salaries, should it be rent, should it be whatever? Yes, it's true. It's a liability. Why is it a liability? Because you have to take it to the credit side of, okay, let's just write here. Accrued expenses. So obviously you're going to credit, let me just move up my screen a bit. So that 4,000 Rand, you have to go and credit somewhere. And because you credit it, is going to be is actually a current liability. So short-term liability. So for me, that was the easiest way, because if you can see something is still, you owe something, but I never knew if it was a current liability or a current asset. But if you do it like this, you can see if it's going to the credit side, it should actually be accrued liability, because it's an expense that you still owe, that you have still to pay. You still have to pay that. But also if you do the T account, then you can see if it's going to the debit or the credit side. And that's basically how accrued expenses or income received in advance or expenses received in advance, everything work to the same principle. Any questions? I just want to get back to Oletsani's question. Okay, before I go back one screen, do you understand the accrued expenses here by salaries? No questions? Okay, let's go back to, just want to see what you asked. I'm lost when you say paid in buildings against salaries. So when you to subtract that. Okay. Let me just get to the, okay. So the adjustment said that the auditor went through the books and they saw that equipment that was purchased. No, I'm in the wrong screen now. Sorry. Where was now the other one? Is it this one? No. Okay, now I have to go back a bit. Now I lost my own example. Oh, here it is. Okay, just to go back to your question. Okay, so I give you the trial balance where you have a credit balance on buildings, which is wrong in the first place. Because buildings is more an asset and it must have a debit balance. And then the salary balance is 332,000. Okay, and then by closer inspection, they saw that the bookkeeper did the following wrong. They put an amount of 120,000, which was supposed to be paid for extensions on the building. So actually it should have been on the debit side because it's like enhancing your buildings. So the 120,000 was supposed to be, let me just go to another color. Okay, so this 120,000 here, it was supposed to be here, but it's not here. Okay, I understand why you understand, yeah, it's negative. But okay, there's still other mistakes as well. I'm just showing you the one transaction. Okay, so the first thing that you must see is that the amount of 120,000 that they paid on the buildings, the extensions, it should have been on the debit side because assets on the debit side increases. So it should have been there. But by closer inspection, they saw that they actually debited the salary account. So in this 332, there's 120,000 that's actually included there. So to take it out of the salary account, you have to credit the salaries with 120,000 and then you correct it by putting it there. So actually what is only wrong here is the salaries, because there should have been, let's say it was paid for cash. So the transaction should have been 120,000 in the debit side, but not salaries, but from a bank account. But the reason why there's a minus there is because yeah, you have a balance. There's still other transactions that must be done. But according to the trial balance, they gave a credit balance for buildings, which is wrong. And then that's why they went through their books and they wanted to see where the mistakes was made. So one of them was that the 120,000 that was supposed to be on the debit side was actually, they put it on the debit side of salaries. But it shouldn't be in the salaries account. So you take it out of your salaries. So that's why you subtract the 120,000 there and you debit it in the buildings account. But still, there must be more transactions here. So the reason why you minus is because there's a credit balance on buildings. And then to correct that, you take the difference between the two. So it sounds like it must be a plus, but it's because there's still other transactions to be made, and there's 164,000 credit balance on your buildings. That's actually why you minus. Who is asking this question? Hulasani? You understand? Or what is it that you still don't understand? Okay, so you understand? Okay, if you still don't understand, you're welcome to WhatsApp me afterwards or email me. Then I can maybe try to explain it in another way. Understood. Okay, I just want to do, I see it's 22. I just want to do another one on expenses, but now let's say, I just want to change my color back. Let's say you received, say rent from a property you're renting, but your rent must be, okay, now I must just work it out. Okay, so you receive 32,500 Rand in rent for a property you're renting, but they also tell you that the rent per month is 2,500 Rand. Okay, now you must go and calculate whether you received enough, too much, too little. Okay, so the rent that you received, it was correctly noted in your bank account. It's an income, so you received 32,500 into your bank account for that amount of money. Is that how much you should have received for a year? Or how much? Let's put it the other way. How much were you supposed to receive for a year renting this property? 30,000. Okay. So that means that 2,500 was actually too much. And you want to take out 2,500 Rand. You understand? Because in actual fact, your final amount or your final balance that you're going to take to your profit and loss, it's somewhere right here, profit and loss, should be 30,000. That is actually your balance for the year on your rent. Okay. Now this 2,500 that you received too much. What are you doing with that? Okay, so obviously this is a income that you received in advance. Income that you received in advance. I can never remember how you write it. Income. It's not a is is the income received in advance. I think they write it like that. But anyway, so 2,500 is income that you received in advance. Is that a current liability or is it a current asset? Because it's actually most now you received this money already. So is that an asset to you or a liability? Remember now, you have to take it off your income account. So you have to subtract the 32,500. You have to subtract 2,500 from that because only 30,000 is going to your profit and loss account. So what is that? Only that is what you have to account for the whole year. So this 2,500 Rand is going to go to the credit side, so meaning that it's a liability. So it doesn't seem like a liability because you already received the money, but because you received the money in advance for a next year, it's actually considered a liability, but a current liability. So when you go to your balance sheet in the end, you write it as a liability. So once again, as I say, you just have to write your, or that's how I do it. You can do it any other way, but for me, it's the easiest way to just do a T account and you write down what should be there and what you have to take out, and then you know whether you have to minus or plus. And then it's also easier, like in this case, you can now see that you receive the income in an advance. It's actually not a liability, an asset, but it's a liability to you. Okay, apparently there's something wrong with the sound, but anyway, I see it's 2:45. Okay, just give it a minute. Is there any questions that you want to ask? Nothing? You all understand? Seems like I explained very good and everyone understands everything I'm saying. Okay, so some of you, I suppose, don't want to ask in front of others. You have my number. You can always send me a WhatsApp or an email afterwards. And if there's some specific questions, I know about the VAT. And I'm going to do the bank recon next time as well. But if there's maybe other things that you want me to explain, we only have one workshop left next week. And then apparently I think there's 2 more for the exam preparations. But yeah, I'm not sure how it goes, but I know there's one workshop next week. So yeah, it's your chance to, just tell me exactly what is it that you don't understand or what you want me to explain. Then, I'll do it next week. Okay. So if there's no further questions, then I'm going to call it a day for today. Let me just see. Okay, it's 31 people. I'm sure someone's got a question, but yeah, some, I suppose, don't want to speak in front of the others. Okay, he says good day to all the fellows. Okay, so I'm going to say goodbye. As I say, I hope you learned something. And if there's some specific topics you want me to cover next week, please just send me an email or a WhatsApp, or even ask the lady from UNISA that's helping us. They will also send me the email. Okay, because there's only one workshop for next week. And then, as I say, there will be 2 in the exams as well. Thank you. I hope you learned something.